The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. People said they have given us freedom all over the world, and they are there to lead us to the right path. And this is what we've all believed in. And that is why they've given us all systems, and we are happy about the things that we have received from these people and where they are leading us to. But the Western world that brought all these things is facing a threat. They are not knowing peace. And what they have given to us haven't helped us. They took away everything and claimed those ones aren't good for humans all over the world. But according to the president of Argentina, Javier, that these people actually gave us things that are not good for the human. What they took away never helped us. That before these people claim they are the saviors of the world, we were all doing better. But ever since we threw away all that we know and what we have and embraced theirs, where have we reached? We have never gone anywhere. Like he used Argentina. Within the shortest possible time where they've reached, and the moment they accepted collectivism, Argentina, over a century ago, hasn't gone anywhere, just like Africa.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Today I am present to inform you that the Western world is facing a significant threat. It is in danger because those who are supposed to defend the values of the Western world are co-opted by a worldview that inevitably leads to socialism and consequently to poverty and economic deprivation. Unfortunately, in recent decades, motivated by some well-intentioned desires to help others and others by the desire to belong to a privileged caste, the main leaders of the Western world have abandoned the model of freedom for different versions of what we call collectivism. We are here to tell you that collectivist experiments are never the solution to the problems that afflict the citizens of the world, but rather they are their cause. Trust me, there is no one better than us Argentines to provide testimony on these two issues. When we embraced freedom in 1860, in 35 years we became the world's first dominant power. 35 years we became the first world power. While when we embraced collectivism, over the past 100 years, we saw how our citizens began to systematically impoverish themselves until they fell to the 140th position in the world. 40 in the world. But before we can have this discussion, it would be important for us to first look at the data that supports why free market capitalism is not only a possible system to end world poverty, but also the only morally desirable system to achieve it. If we consider the history of economic progress, we can see how from year zero until around 1800, the world's per capita GDP remained practically constant throughout the reference period. If one looks at a chart of the evolution of economic growth throughout human history, one would be seeing a chart with the shape of a hockey stick, an exponential function that remained constant for 90% of the time and exponentially shoots up from the 19th century. The sole exception to this stagnant history was at the end of the 15th century with America's discovery. Except for this, from year 0 to 1800, global per capita GDP remained stagnant without any significant changes. Now, not only did capitalism generate an explosion of wealth from the moment it was adopted as an economic system, but if one analyzes the data, what is observed is that growth has been accelerating throughout the entire period. During the entire period between year 0 and 1800, the per capita GDP growth rate remained stable at around 0.02% annually, that is, practically without growth. From 19th century, with industrial revolution, growth rate reaches 0.66%. Given the current rate, it would require a time span of approximately 107 years to achieve a twofold increase in per capita GDP. In 1900-1950, growth rate rises to 1.66% annually. 150 growth rate rises to 1.36% annually. We no longer need 107 years to double per capita GDP, but 66. If we take the period between 1950 and the year 2000, we can see that the growth rate was 2.1% annually, which would mean that in just 33 years, we could double the world's per capita GDP. This trend, far from stopping, remains alive even now. If we consider the period from 2000 to 2023, the growth rate increased again at 3% per year, meaning we could double our per capita GDP globally in only 23 years. Now, when studying per capita GDP from 1800 to today, what is observed is that after the Industrial Revolution, global per capita GDP multiplied by more than 15 times, generating an explosion of wealth that lifted 90% of the world's population out of poverty. We must never forget that by the year 1800, about 95% of the world's population lived in extreme poverty, while that number dropped to 5% by the year 2020, prior to the pandemic. The conclusion is obvious. Far from being the cause of our problems, free market capitalism as an economic system is the only tool we have to end hunger, poverty, and destitution throughout the planet. The empirical evidence is unquestionable. Therefore, as there is no doubt that free market capitalism is superior in productive terms, the left's doxa has attacked capitalism for its moral issues, for being, according to them, as its detractors say, unjust. They claim capitalism is bad because it's individualistic, and collectivism is good because it's altruistic towards others. And thus they strive for social justice. But this concept that has become trendy in the developed world recently, in my country, it has been a constant in political discourse for over 80 years. The issue is that social justice is unfair and doesn't contribute to general well-being. On the contrary, it's an inherently unfair idea because it's violent. It's unfair because the state is financed through taxes, and taxes are collected coercively. Or can any of us confidently say that they pay taxes of their own free will? This implies that the state is funded through coercion, and that the higher the tax burden, the greater the coercion, leading to a reduction in freedom. Those who promote social justice start from the idea that the economy as a whole is a cake that can be distributed in a different way. But that cake is not given. It is wealth that is generated in what, for example, Israel Kirchner calls a market discovery process. If the good or service that a company offers is not desired, that company goes bankrupt unless it adapts to what the market is demanding. Create a high-quality product at a good price or attractive, succeed and produce more, so the market is a process of discovery where the capitalist finds the right direction on the go. But if the state punishes the capitalist for success and blocks him in this process, it destroys his incentives, and the consequences are that he will produce less and the cake will be smaller, generating harm to society.
Africa has become backwards ever since we came in contact with these people. Like Ama Ete Edu said, ever since we came in contact with these people, look at us. Where have we reached? We are always going backwards. They have taken everything and they are still taking. We are rather losing for a few people. And this is what Africans, we still don't understand. That we are backwards because we have thrown everything of ours away and we have embraced things that are not for the interest of us. The African will still defend and tell us they've given us technology. They have given us education. They have given us this because mentally we are still enslaved. That is why we still cherish everything these people gave to us. The things they've given to us and the things we hold so dear to our hearts. are the things that are keeping us where we are. There is nothing they've given to us that is helping us. And that is why today they are so scared and they are doing everything possible in their power to rise. Seeing social media to be a threat because all the forms that they use to manipulate us is no longer working. Social media has given us the opportunity to get to know what is actually happening around us. We have had a voice. The truth is put out there. But even though these things are there, how many of us visit where the truth is? We are still indoctrinating our children, passing on things that are not helpful to us, to the children, because we have not come in contact with the truth. And those of us who have also come in contact with it, we still find it so hard to believe because they have found a way to tell us that those information that we have received are misleading us. They only have the truth. But have we asked ourselves, these organizations they've created, the things they've brought, how well do we know them? What goes under it? What is the main purpose of whatever they are giving to us? And we are following and accepting blindly. Africa can never make a headway if we don't rise up to look for the path that we were on before we came in contact with them. That is the only way we can set ourselves free. Their system isn't helping the African. And if we continue to follow these things, we will never find our sovereignty, our freedom. Because what we have when we claim is freedom is actually not freedom. We are told we have the right to do this, have the right to do that. But are you sure you actually have that right to do that? Why are they fighting us from going back to where we are and who we are as a people? People are exposing them here and there. But it is so difficult for the African to accept the truth. And we actually need to accept this truth and fight. Because the leaders that we have given power to are not doing the interests of us. Because they take orders from and they keep doing what the West wants and not what we will use to free ourselves as Africans. And that is why Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are moving away from them. So that's the latest around the world and in Argentina.